What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So this thing gets very interesting. This whole Epstein fiasco. If you take your head out of the sand and stop picking imaginary sides, stop pretending this is WWE. Ooh, yeah, brother. I'm an enemy of Hulk Hogan. We don't hang around each other outside the ring and smash girls. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I know they had a feud behind Miss Elizabeth and all that, but you get the point I'm trying to make here. So, Jeffrey Epstein, right? The last person that he reportedly saw alive was Bill Barr, okay, who at the time was the Attorney General under Donald Trump during his first administration. I believe just hours after meeting with Barr, Epstein supposedly unalived himself. This was a man who, according to all reports and sources, was terrified of death. But look at this coincidence here. Bill Barr, his father, name was Donald Barr. Donald Barr, among other things, was an employee of the United States government's first intelligence agency, which was created during World War II. It predated the CIA. And when he was an older gentleman, Donald Barr in the 1970s hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach at the prestigious Dalton School in New York City, despite Epstein having absolutely no college degree. That's unheard of. You talk about preferential treatment, right? This guy was truly a protege of Donald Barr. It had to be very, very close to Donald Barr and perhaps even a young Bill Barr. Just saying. Donald Barr, by the way, also happened to be an author. And he wrote a book, a science fiction novel called Space Relations. And in this novel, a story involved around an interplanetary sex slave ring featuring aristocratic rulers who preyed on and abused children. That sounds pretty familiar. I'm just saying. And when you do your research, you find a lot of things that just keep connecting with each other. And no matter how much you might want to spin it, at the end of the day, it all says the same, it all gives the same grisly message. And that is that we are being ruled by an odious, unscrupulous, soulless pack of animals, pack of wolves. I don't know, I can't even call them wolves. Slime, okay? These people are sociopaths, psychotic, no morals. This is just my opinion, but I think the last really moral leader that we've had, sure, he was a womanizer, yeah, but the last leader of the United States that we've had, president, that I think really gave a damn, outside of Jimmy Carter, was JFK. And by the way, Jimmy Carter was an accident. I don't think Jimmy Carter was meant to be where he got. If you recall, the Democratic Party, if you do your research, When Jimmy Carter was running for the nomination in 1976, the Democratic establishment wanted no parts of Jimmy Carter. And his own party helped to set him up for failure in the 1970s and early 80s. So, yeah, I think effectively since November 22nd, 1963, we've been ruled by a corrupt regime that has been more or less heavily influenced by the CIA and the military-industrial complex. You know, and yeah, I am insinuating that Epstein probably said something to Bill Barr that made those in power feel uncomfortable. And, you know, he probably misjudged the strength of his friendship. And I think Bill Barr, on orders from his boss, and by his boss, I'm talking about Trump and the powers to be, they did what they had to do. That's what I think. And if someone thinks I'm stupid for saying that, well, you can suck my. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to be gross. I'm thinking it, but that's what you can go to. That's what you can do. But at the end of the day, I'm not beholden to a party. Never have been, never will. And all you guys show your hand anyway, because when I was crapping on Joe Biden, who had no reason whatsoever to be in the White House, you know, it was all good. But the minute somebody starts talking about, you know what I'm saying, dust, when everybody starts talking about feather dust ahead, Donald Trump, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Well, this nigga right here, y'all don't control me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might got some of these other dudes shook and afraid to criticize that dude like Stephen A. Smith. But at the end of the day, it's my channel. I don't give a fuck if you two shadow ban me to the goddamn shadow realms. I don't give a fuck my videos only get 100 views. I'd rather have my dignity than fucking sit here and spew shit I don't truly believe in. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's just how I feel. So, all of them are corrupt. Democrat, Republican, whatever. They're all, for the most part, they're all the same. And yeah, Trump gets criticized by the mainstream media, but he has his protections too. Fox News protects him constantly. And also, even though there was a witch hunt to go after Donald Trump, the mainstream media doesn't report everything that they could. They don't report everything that Trump's been accused of. They don't give equal airtime to those victims out there who have spoken out. They don't want no parts of that. So by that example, he still gets protected. You know how many people out there that have accused this man of the worst stuff, of all types of egregious crimes? The fact that this man was on audio 8 years ago when he ran for president, essentially bragging about assaulting women in itself. If this was anybody else, that would have ended his campaign. If this was 20 years ago, that would have ended their campaign. So maybe that says more about his supporters than anything else. I'm just being honest. The fact that y'all always negate any negative thing that's been said about him, and you play this stupid game where you spin everything that's said about him and somehow try to throw it back on. So y'all have learned that horrible tactic from him. That no accountability, non sequitur BS, where, oh, You don't address what the topic is. You spin it around and try to throw blame on the questioner or who you want it to be on. And, at the end of the day, yep, I have to point to a lot of Trump supporters. You've enabled a dictator, and you continue to enable him. Because whenever anybody hold this guy questionable or hold him accountable for anything that he's done or says, the first thing you do is attack the people who are trying to hold him accountable. So in essence, you're enabling a dictator. So, that's just how I feel. And you're going to get mad and say stupid shit in the comment section or question my intelligence, whatever. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care, bro. Honestly. I try to talk sensible to some of you dudes. You still say the stupid shit. So at this point, fuck y'all. As I said before, you can unsubscribe from my page. I don't care. Everybody see what the truth is, man. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it.